क्या आपने कभी ऐसे रिटायरमेंट की कल्पना की है जो कॉलेज लाइफ की तरह हो? वही टेंशन फ्री लाइफ, मौज मस्ती और हम उम्र दोस्तों का साथ, एक खूबसूरत जगह। आप अपनी जिंदगी के सहेजे हुए खूबसूरत पलों को दोबारा से
culturally and linguistically diverse populations in the world, I think it's quite clear that we don't see that sort of depiction of multiculturalism in the media. I mean, in terms of cultural diversity, we know that this really talks about having, I guess, people from different cultures and religious backgrounds within a society. So if we think about the media, as discussed already, we've got mainstream media, we've got traditional media like TV, radio, the print, and then we've got lots of online sort of digital media, we've got social media, we've got mobile sort of media. And I guess it appears that from a lot of perspectives that to think about who actually controls the media. Is it the audience via their ratings, or is it the news editors and program directors? I guess it's important to consider whether the needs of the audience are actually considered, or whether it is just people in charge wanting to make sure they're getting enough ratings.
The field isn't actually cultural diversity in media. I teach filmmaking, so that's my background. And I get that this question of diversity is certainly a significant one within the film industry, the film community in Australia, and for us in the media generally, as Tina was describing. And it connects to a number of things. I mean, one intransigent problem is the representation of women in cinema, both on the screen and behind the camera. And this is something that people have been working on very hard for nearly 40 years in my memory. And yet there has been really some improvement in some areas, but generally not what we were expecting 30 or 40 years ago in terms of the number of women filmmakers, the number of women DOPs, and more than just numbers, how encouraged and welcome women feel in that industry.
Here in Australia, also in our community here, we organized last year before, music class. Music class teach harmonium tubla. Mr. Mughal, he was teacher for the community, Afghan community. He's a teacher for the
Not acceptable at all. I like to think of myself primarily as a person, and I like to think of other people as people. That's constantly assaulted in this environment, because I'm reminded by the people that I choose as my friends, as my family, whether it's my fiance, who's a refugee from Kosovo, or whether it's the director of the film festival from Croatia, or his wife from Malta. I'm consistently reminded of how people are treated when they don't look like me, when they don't behave like me, brought up in a very white environment through my biological family. I see it constantly and it makes me extraordinarily sad. But on the converse side, I'm also really grateful for the fact that I get to champion a lot of the diversity that I see in my life. Because the diversity that I see everywhere, particularly one thing of note in Melbourne at the moment, is a broader Asian and Chinese community coming to live and call Melbourne home. I think that's fantastic. I think everybody who wants to come to a place to call a place home should be welcomed because they've got something to bring. They've got experiences that I don't have, skills I don't have, knowledge I don't have. What a wonderful way to make friends by learning. And who better to learn off than the people you've never met? Thank you.
Thank you for about welcoming everyone to call Australia home and that sort of representation and how it translates across to the media. So, folks, all those questions, you'll have a moment shortly to be able to ask those questions to any of our guests today. Dr. Arti, but let's see your thoughts on this topic.
Thanks for that. I'm wearing my Asian Australian Alliance Victorian convener hat today. AAA is a grassroots community-based network advocating on issues concerning Asian Australian community with the purpose of challenging policies and pushing for change to create greater diversity and representation of Asian Australians in mainstream society. We recently had a conference, our inaugural conference in Victoria, and one of the topics was media in diversity. That was a panel that I was chairing, and we had great discussions on that, and I have very strong views myself on that topic, and which I'd like to share with everyone here. When we talk about all that, Australia prides itself on being a multicultural nation. We talk about a fair go. We love celebrating various festivals of our diverse communities. We enjoy different cuisines. We enjoy the music. We like the traditional dresses. We the art, the culture, the movies. But when we talk about representation in the real sense, our experience seems to suggest that it begins and ends with these iterations of symbolism. And the bamboo ceiling prevents any meaningful participation. So today's festival delves into this conundrum in the media industry. Can we say that the ethnic diversity of modern Australians is represented in the media? My answer is no. I believe that media and arts in Australia, whether it be print, television, cinema, does not adequately reflect the ethnic diversity of modern Australia, and my outlook relates not just to the cohort that represents the actors, the producers, the directors, the journalists, broadcasters and panelists, but also diversity on boards of media houses and the employment and recruitment policies. We've touched on some of these topics before, but I just want to reiterate. The lack of diversity in Hollywood became a heated topic at the Oscars, as was Warid Ali's win at the Logies. Celebrities and fans took to social media to voice their disapproval of the minimal presence of people of color in film and television. The hashtag #OscarsSoWhite spread like wildfire. The fact that these become topics of debate is in itself a problem. But the lack of diversity in the entertainment industry is only a reflection of a much bigger problem. Greater diversity in media is not just an end, but it's a means towards achieving a more balanced outlook and influencing behaviors in the wider community. We need diverse views and faces on our television screens, across cinema, in newspapers and radio, to help in achieving a more harmonious society that embraces diversity. Some other issues that I see relevant in this space is the lack of opportunities for Asian Australian directors and actors. And as a result, many of them go overseas to Asia, UK, US and Europe. How should Australia cope with that, respond to that? Are we providing our directors and actors with the opportunity they deserve? If not, we are losing out on a talent pool that would be highly successful in other countries. It is also in the interest of the media houses to have greater content that appeals to and represents the diverse communities. By not providing a multicultural content, media houses are losing out on a larger audience base who are moving to their TV channels from their countries of origin. The other thing that I find disturbing is that any content in relation to multiculturalism or depiction of diverse communities in the media and arts has to be stereotypical to generate interest, which Tina alluded to as well. Why does an Indian person have to be a taxi driver or an IT professional? Why does a Chinese own a local takeaway or own a $2 shop? Why are they not leads? Why are they not ordinary mainstream people with an extraordinary story, just like the rest of the cast? Is it that the audience is not discerning enough, or is it just a form of unconscious bias that permeates at all levels? Recently, ABC Radio has called out for boosting diversity at the national broadcaster as one of their top priorities. Further, following extensive discussions with the Equity Diversity Committee, the Casting Guild of Australia (CGA) has adopted a diversity policy that will now be included on their own website, on the Facebook page, and the CGA members' casting briefs and email signatures. These initiatives are few and far in between, and hence they are unlikely to address the issue systemically. We will have to wait and see, and hope for greater diversity in media and arts. And as my filmmaker Anupam Sharma says, that unless and until you see the streets on the screen, it's not going to make a difference. So I commend the efforts of the organizers today for having a conference that talks about these important issues. And I'm happy to talk to anyone about what work we do at the Asian Australian Alliance. And hopefully today's discussions will lead to a greater representation of the rich tapestry of diversity in Australian media. And I wish the organizers all the best for the future as well.
I'll start by saying that I might have slightly different views, but not particular to oppose anything, but just to add variety and spice into it. I have lived in 3 continents, which is unique, and living is one thing. I have practiced my profession in 3 continents. I started with India, where people used to say the whole world is one family, and that's what I learned. Nothing more than that. I didn't see multiculturalism. I didn't even hear that word there because there was no need. In the current India, you can see from cricket and others, yes, there is a difference, but not at that time. Then I was in Africa, Kenya for 20 years, and there was mixture. There were a lot of British presence, a lot of Indian presence, Chinese, Koreans, and few others. They talked, but I didn't understand fully what is multiculturalism. The only thing I knew was, I'm here, I have to work hard, do what I do best, and move on. And in the end, I never realized I was given accreditation, recognition, and all that. And then it was destiny. I never thought I will move from Nairobi, Kenya, ever, but it happened. I came to Australia. Here, again, the people pose the question, they are racialist, they are this and this. That is what I was told in Nairobi. I found it quite opposite. I found people very receptive because my heart was very clean on that. They don't prejudge anybody. Treat them, they are human beings. They will treat, if you treat them as family, they will treat you as family members. So I started with whatever I knew, kept firm on my way, what I was doing, and within no time, I was surprised the way Australian community just accepted my services, the way they came to me. It was a surprise to me. Probably I would not have succeeded that much in India itself. Then on top of that, people accuse government, people say other things. I would say Australian government is unique. Without my knowledge, without ever applying, they observed what I was doing and they invited me to audit the tax office, which is unique. No Australian has been called to do that. So they asked me for 2 successive years to do the compliance audit, with making director of compliance and other officers as team with me. And I went there, which they have never given opportunity to others. So my heart cannot say that anybody is a racist, because you cannot expect that in India itself. Forget about anywhere else. Now, I have 2 lessons from my life, which I feel that people are not told. One is, people come with a lot of skill in dancing, in art and all that, but without focus on their area, they want to do others' area. They think, oh, there is money in the other area, let's jump there. They forget their main goal and they go into that. That is where the mistakes start. Number two, they are not willing to do any research on their own area, what opportunities are available here. For example, I have heard first time Australia, Asia, and all those associations. I have never heard those earlier. That means those who have to find a job, they must find out these organizations. Three, which I also really, I never told him in front, but I will praise Morgil about it. You have to be steadfast, firm in your area. You won't get easy recognition or income or anything until you do what you are best at and continue doing it. And one day you are recognized and you get what you want. So my suggestion to youngsters would be, actors, others, that please go in your line, whatever time you have. The media has already been broken by the social media. If you are good at something, produce it, put it on social media, give a challenge, and you will be recognized. If you have some skill, try to find organizations like Asia, Australia, and other organizations, approach them. I'm sure they will hear you, they will support you. Other thing I have seen, this is because this is my financial side to tell, most of the actors and artists, they don't succeed, not that they are not good at their work, they are very bad at finances. They are given grants, they will finish in 1-2 weeks, and then they'll say, we have no money to finish our project, and they start finding it difficult. So they are not trained on those things. How they must get support from these organizations, how to budget, how to plan, how to finish their projects, and to move on. Because once they find the finances depleting, they start losing faith in themselves and they start going out of the market. So this is my different view, but not very different. What I agree what is there, but I have a feeling there is other side also. We have a duty to the state also. State can't be going against each person. So with my own example, I am saying, I never applied anywhere that I can audit you. No way. I am a practitioner. I have a conflict of interest with the government. Why would they appoint me? They found something that I was doing right and they thought I have something to contribute. So this is where I actually thank the government and thank the people of Australia, and I feel they're very good.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. Taking a different view, and I think that's very healthy for them.
We're in a tight spot with so many different points of view coming in. But I would use this opportunity to discuss this whole topic in terms of a media practitioner as well as a media teacher.
Discrimination and so on is actually very much applicable to almost all other migrant groups. So whoever was talking there before, I have instant recall and to add on, okay? But I'm here more about my, at the moment, about my view. So I agree with all of you. I would add up one significant point when we are talking about migrant groups. There are significant Chinese populations, significant some numbers European populations, Indian population. Nobody talks about one particular group. Now I leave this. I will call them. You figure it out yourself. Actually, this group is more numerous than any of the other. And they're hiding their names behind Italian names in Italy. They are out of touch with the rest and have no empathy nor understanding of the needs of other ones. But the clue is to see, to hear, to share with those others their feelings and visions and experiences. Being short, tall, gray, bald, fat, skinny, white, brown, yellow, doesn't matter. male or female, or what religion or what status. Human qualities are not in appearances, but in their heart, mind, spirit, soul, and behavior. Don't let anyone decide for you on your behalf what you disagree. Don't let cowboy lifestyle of gunpowder to teach you what empathy is and how globalization is good for you. I don't take advices from the social system who are able just to conquer and usurp the power all over the world for the economic pragmatic greed. For us as diversity cultures, we all have our food preferences or music preferences or art preferences and so on and so on and so on. But behind all this, it is just simply anything as long as in it is fair and equal share and distribution for everybody. Yes, it is all-time social and political issue because people are first humans with dignity and self-respect, even if they are refugees.
Makes all the more sense to understand what the diversity is all about. I'm definitely here just to talk about a very specific experience that I'm coming up with. How I feel is that the current socio-economic and political climate is maniac and volatile, with everyone wanting their say when it comes to culture and identity. So when we talk about diversity, it's more about our belongingness and the content of our identity. The rhetoric propagated by the media often paints a bleak and unforgiving picture, and making the culture and the religious harmony almost unattainable. So when this was all happening and my observation was around, I came across a specific group. And when I talk about a specific group, it's a project that I was a part of called Common Ground, and that was funded by Multicultural Arts Victoria. Common Ground is an interfaith spoken word project that aims to bring together people to discuss themes of identity, belongingness, peace and conflict through the written and spoken word. So over a period of workshops at the State Library of Victoria, we wrote our pieces of what we feel about being a part of this country, being a part of a special, a special segment of our community. Each participant had brought the wealth of their experience coming from a range of backgrounds. So be it media, be it the cultural, or be the creative side of the community, we had that opportunity to express our thoughts and represent our respective community. A poetry workshop, you say, but it was very, very important. Because the truth is, sometimes we really need to engage with that specific person from that specific community to understand where are they coming from. What is their background? What is their story? And this specific common ground background gave us the courage to be on the stage and to say our story in our own unique way, where we knew we will not be judged. Where we had the representation in the media saying, this is where we're coming from. And this workshop definitely allowed us to meet people, we may not happen to cross ordinarily, like just in a
I'm Pamis and I'm an Australian farmer. I'm not from any organization, I'm just like ordinary people sitting there. Answer is very simple and the story very simple. Once in India, Persians came to India. They asked the permission and they have the 5 boats that can we enter India. They say, Indian king say, I don't have anything to offer you. This is a glass of milk, please have and go your country back. The Parsis, they put the sugar, 2 spoons of sugar, mix it and return to the king. King drink. Oh, very sweet. We will blend it you in your society. We will give you flavor of the milk. So the migrant, any migrant, India, China, Pakistan, anywhere, they are migrating to Australia, they have to blend it in the society. First thing. So they have to give that flavor. Flavor means the contribution to the Australian society. Now, once the Australian society will get the flavor of milk, that is the responsibility for all of you or us individually to represent that these people has contributed to the society. The same thing, I'm not watched too much of the TV. I have other thing to do, but I watched one TV serial like an Indian Doctor by some of the British documentary, something like that, and that gave a very good flavor to the British society to make a stamp of a doctor as an Indian, not only Indian, any doctor. So what the contribution these people are doing in Australia, we have to tell. I meet a lot of people. I have very good doctor. I have got this doctor. So that unless you will not show that what these people has done, or all of us, first migrant, people don't know. So please,
Thank you very
that's
much.
my idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another thought, comment?
Hi, my name is Preeti Daga. My background is actually marketing and media. I work for a charity organization and I head the team there. In my various hats, besides that, I'm actually an actor, model. I do a bit of community work as well. I have a very active interest in media, given my background. I've heard the panel sitting here and people, and just talking to my friends next to me. We've all identified that there is a representation issue in media. And there was some talk about the fact that is it rating driven, or is it audience driven, or is it the media conglomerates really coming out with the content? And I think we are living in a very, very different time from what it was maybe 10 years ago, before the eruption of social media. And I think Vikrant very rightly pointed out to the fact that today, multiculturalism is a big word. We all talk about it. It's the say. Everyone I hear only talks about diversity and what does that really mean? Why are we actually relying on top media houses to represent multiculturalism? Online and social media gives power to the community. It gives power to people like me, to my friends who actually want to communicate a message. Being an actor, having done a few movies, they're all short movies except for one feature that we did, we couldn't actually break through the ceiling and actually get that released in big cinemas here. But we used the power of social media to get that message out. And I think that's what I would like to say, that the community, the multicultural community in Australia really needs to get an understanding that the power is within them to bring the change. They shouldn't look up to the government, they shouldn't look up to the state only, they shouldn't look up to the media to represent them. I have the power today to actually communicate and tell my story, and I can do that. And I think that's what we really need to get the message out. That's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you.
Local and everybody who's come here to take out that time and attend such a session. The very fact that we have a panel which is full of multicultural people, or somebody who's representing their own identity in a unique way, is that we have a society which is full of rich culture and language. I believe that we are very lucky to be in a society which offers us such a potential, or such a platform to interact, engage, entertainment website, which is Biscuit Showtime. It's all about the very mission of our website is to keep you entertained and improve your living. There's something that we all can exchange. There's no barrier of language. You can say anything in the words that you like. I was very fortunate to be invited to hear a Brekkie Talk session at Human Rights Arts and Film Festival. And it was indeed very encouraging to see that the panel there itself was somebody who was from the indigenous background, somebody who started their journey and all had the similar story that I came here 2 decades back or a decade back, and today I'm here sitting in front of you. So it's just upon us that if there is a filter, how clearly we see through that filter.
अनीता कितना काम करोगी? थोड़ा आराम कर लो।
आराम का प्लान तो बना लिया है मैंने। वर्ल्ड टूर पे भी जाएंगे, लेट नाइट शोज भी देखेंगे और जितना मर्जी उतना सोएंगे।
अच्छा, पर कैसे?
हमारे रिटायरमेंट की तैयारी तो शुरू कर दी है, वरना एक हाउसवाइफ का रिटायर होना तो मुश्किल है।
तो आज ही शुरू कीजिए लंबी इनिंग्स की तैयारी।